AEW Dynamite starts off with Hangman Page versus Josh Alexander. Hangman, of course, wins. I'm not going to really go that in depth over this match because it was a very predictable outcome. It was a fine match, but very predictable. After the match, Hangman cuts a promo. He ends up just mentioning that he wants to fight people the right way. He don't want no shenanigans. Mentioning that he went through a lot to become AEW World Champion. That he wants to defend the championship in the right way. Don Callis comes out, Kyle Fletcher comes out, confronts Hangman, and Kyle Fletcher ends up asking Hangman what's his response to challenging him for the AEW World Championship. Hangman ends up responding, ends up saying that Kyle Fletcher has a lot of potential, but he just isn't ready for the AEW World Championship. Kyle Fletcher ends up responding back, ends up saying that people have told him that he's not ready his entire life. He constantly proved people wrong, and he's willing to prove Hangman wrong. Hangman responds, ends up giving him the title shot, but he wants him to earn it, and he wants him to do it without cheating, and he wants him to do it on his own without Don Callis. Kyle Fletcher agrees, so we're getting this match at All Out, which I'm not really excited for because, again, it's a very predictable outcome. Now, like I mentioned before, predictability isn't bad. It's only bad when you have boring and lackluster storytelling with your predictability outcome. That's my only issue with this. The story isn't really there, and we know the match is going to be good, but it's like we already know the match was going to be good. It's Hangman and Kyle Fletcher, but there's not really nothing here. I don't understand why we're doing this match because why are we having the TNT champion versus the AEW World Champion? It's like, it just seems unnecessary. If I was booking this, I would just put Wardlow in this position. Matter of fact, where is Wardlow? You made him attack Swerve at Forbidden Door, and then we never got to see Wardlow again outside of the first Dynamite after Forbidden Door, but he didn't say anything. We don't even know why he even attacked Swerve. We don't even know why he's in the Don Callis family. You could have easily built up Wardlow in this position. That would have been far more entertaining and actually that would have been more of an interesting story in my opinion, instead of Kyle Fletcher. I would have bought that way more because at least Wardlow is not a champion. Like, it is what it is. It was a fine segment. It was just, I just don't understand why we're doing the match. But he really don't have no competitors because AEW is really missing in the talent pool with Swerve, Okada, and Will Ospreay all out. So the talent pool isn't that strong right now with those three missing. So we'll see how this plays out. When we're getting a women's tag team match between Mercedes Moné, Emmy, I forgot her last name. I feel like she defeated Emmy as well for the TBS Championship. I could be wrong. And versus Alice Windsor and Rio. The heels win the match. The heels didn't win the match. The babyfaces won the match. It was through a submission, yeah. This continues the match that's going to happen at All Out between Rio and Mercedes. Who honestly cares? We all know how this is going to happen. I didn't really do a Dynamite review last week mentioning Rio return because I didn't have much to say, really. I didn't really have much to say because who cares? And honestly, anytime when I don't do a review of a show, it's because I don't have much to say and the video would just be extremely short. So that's why I don't really do a review if I don't end up posting it. But I just don't really care for this because we know how this is going to play out. Mercedes is going to win. Nobody is beating Mercedes until she breaks Jade Cargill's record. That's what we're all waiting for. Waiting for her to break the streak of Jade Cargill so she can be the longest reigning champion. I just don't really care for this because who really does care? Like, why is Rio even getting a title shot? Who knows? She hasn't been on AEW TV in like a year, but all of a sudden she gets a title shot. It is what it is. We'll see how it plays out, but I honestly have no interest in anything Mercedes Moné does. We end up getting FTR. They end up cutting a very weird promo segment where they end up coming out just insulting the fans, and then they end up just attacking a bunch of security and cameramen. That's literally what's the segment. They come out. You have Stokely mentioning the fans. Then you have FTR mentioning Adam and Christian, and then they end up talking to some fans in the crowd, confronting them, saying that they wouldn't fight them. Then they end up shoving the camera down, attacking cameramen. The security got to break them up. And that's really it. I don't understand what was the purpose of this segment. This didn't further anything. This just felt like just something that... This felt like an anime filler. This felt like an anime filler. Like, why was this here? You just put this here just to put it here. It was no story development. Nothing further anything. Nothing. Like, there was really... You could have just made this a backstage segment, to be honest. You could have just gave FTR a backstage segment and they could have done the same thing, to be honest with you, just without them attacking the cameraman and stuff. I don't understand why this was here. We'll see how the match plays out All Out. I'm excited for, but I'm only excited for because Adam and Christian, not because of FTR, because I'm really not feeling the FTR heel turn. It was it was good at first, but really just went downhill afterwards. But we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully they can improve, but I highly doubt they improve this story. We end up getting a street fight between Tony Storm and Sky Blue. This match ended up becoming a thing due to Collision, where they was having some type of multi-woman match, if I'm not mistaken, on Collision, and then the Trio of Darkness, if I'm not mistaken, attacked Tony Storm. So that's why this match happening. Tony Storm, of course, wins. After the match, you end up getting the Trio of Darkness or Trio of Danger. I forget the name. It's Trio of something. Um, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Dragon Ball Super when I say Trio of Danger, but the Trio of Madness or Trio of Darkness, one of those two. Um, you get Tekla, and then you get Jamie Hayter. They come out, attack Tony Storm. You get Chris Statlander, Jamie Hayter try to come out for the save, but fail. Tekla stands tall. So this is going to be a fatal four-way. This match got confirmed before all this happened. How did this become a fatal four-way? I don't know. But it's going to be a fatal four-way all out between Tony Storm, not Jamie Hayter, Tekla, Chris Statlander, and I already forgot the fourth person. Oh my god. But it's going to be a fatal four-way for some reason. Don't know how this happened. Don't know how this became a number one. Don't understand it, but it is what it is. Tony Storm is obviously winning. I honestly just can't wait for her to drop it. We all know she's going to drop it to Mercedes anyway, because there's no one else that they're building up for that women's division either way. So it is what it is. Not really interested. Don't really care, honestly. So we'll see how this plays out. Now, finally, we get the main event. We get the 500K All-Star Tag Team match between the Death Riders, the Young Bucks versus the Ops, and Brodito. The heels picked up the victory due to the Young Bucks cheating. After the match, you get Brody King attacks the Young Bucks due to them cheating. Then it leads to a brawl. Darby Allin comes out, attacks Jon Moxley. Then we end up getting Daniel Garcia joining the Death Riders, attacking Darby Allin. I don't know how to feel about this because Daniel Garcia is already a boring character, and I don't really know if this is going to work. It's going to get him heel heat, but I don't know how to feel about this because I don't think he already don't fit the Death Riders, and the Death Riders is already a boring faction. So you add another boring, lifeless character in that faction. Maybe I want to be proven wrong. I really do, but I just don't see this working out as something that's going to help them, really, or make them more entertaining because they're already boring as fuck. So you add another boring character in that group, and then they end up trying to do this chair spot. Daniel Garcia botched it, so they had to redo it, do it again. I don't know how to feel about this. We'll see how this plays out. Very uninterested in this storyline, but it is what it is. I just don't understand why we're still getting Death Riders on my TV all the time, but it is what it is. Overall, the show was mediocre. It was okay. It was better than last week, which is why I'm doing a review. It was better than last week's show, because last week's show was just completely terrible. I just was not willing to do a review on that. But overall, it was an okay show. You guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.